Okay, hello, welcome everyone. This is our Understanding Financial Aid Forms webinar. And our agenda is going to be this. The first thing we're going to talk about is 5 reasons to submit all of your financial aid forms, the financial aid applications, a bit about verification and compliance, your student's financial aid timeline, and then our portal for filing forms, File College info. All right, so first, the 5 reasons to file financial aid forms. Families sometimes feel like filing financial aid forms isn't worth the hassle, or they've been told it's a waste of time, they make too much money, or they have too many assets. When in fact, there are 5 reasons that every family needs to file financial aid forms. Okay, so let's go through those. Number 1, we file financial aid forms for financial aid. So colleges want to ensure that the family is not eligible for federal and state merit-based aid before dipping into their own institutional funds or grants and scholarships. This does include merit scholarships and the college's own money. So some colleges, though, will not allow students who initially submit their admissions applications as no need and do not submit the FAFSA to later change their minds and apply to be considered for institutional aid later. You can always file the FAFSA, we can always get the student loan, but the college will have deadlines for their own institutional money. So number 2 reason to file financial aid forms is for admissions. So experience shows us that if you are a family of means, submitting the financial aid forms will improve your chances for admissions. Colleges are businesses and they need that net tuition revenue to cover their expenses and award aid to students who demonstrate need. And in some cases, it is estimated that admissions rates are 20% higher for students that submitted financial aid forms compared to those who did not. All right, number 3, we submit financial aid forms for accountability. So accountability can be built into this process for parents when you have your students use the student loans. So parents, you can make a deal with your student to say, hey, when you graduate, I'll pay off these loans. Or hey, when you finish the semester with A's and B's, I'll pay these loans for you. Something to that effect. Families must file the FAFSA to participate in any college loan programs. Number 4 reason is for enrollment management. So enrollment management research shows that demonstrated interest can be a factor for admissions. Colleges want to make sure that they don't lose your interest of that prospective student. So they're looking for the financial aid forms and will often give incentives in regards to that. So a discount could be in the form of a merit scholarship to entice your student to move their school to the top of the list or attend that school rather than a competitor's competing college. And then the number 5 reason that we file financial aid forms is for graduation. Colleges will see that you're emotionally and financially willing and able to get your student across the finish line. And when a family has the ability to pay, filing those financial aid forms informs the college of that fact. So when you're able to fund it, you want them to know that. And if a college doubts a family can make it across that finish line, they may decide not to admit that student at all. Okay, so let's get into it. Financial aid applications, we'll go over the IDs, we'll go over FAFSA, the CSS profile, institutional aid applications, and then we'll start with the FSA IDs. So the FSA ID is your username and password for the federal student aid website. And on that website, you're going to do a number of things. You're going to submit the FAFSA, you're going to secure student loans, you're going to secure parent loans on the federal side, and then you're going to manage those federal loans also. About the FSA IDs, so every student needs an FSA ID. Okay, now parents, If you are a two-parent household and you filed your taxes jointly, only one parent needs that FSA ID. Okay. If you're a two-parent household, but you filed your taxes separately, then both of these parents need an FSA ID. If you're a one-parent household, then you need an FSA ID. You file single, you file head of household, you file widowed. Only you need that FSA ID. The other parent does not. So basically, we need an FSA ID for every person, for every tax return that we're pulling into the FAFSA form. Okay. Studentaid.gov looks like this. Up here in the right-hand corner at the red arrow is that Create Account button. And when you click that, a screen like this will show. So the first thing at that red arrow is this is where we submit the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. Then for your students who are graduating in June of 2025, then June, July of 2025 is when you'll come to this website and you'll sign your master promissory note for the student loan. Parents, you'll sign for the parent loan. You will also use this site to manage your student loans, parent loans. So 6 months prior to when your student graduates college, that is when you want to circle back and start to look at those repayment options. So we have other webinars. Repayment options is the topic of one, so you'll see that come as well. And then you will need social security number, email, and phone number to set up a student or a parent ID. Okay, so let's talk about the FAFSA. The FAFSA, I'm going to say, is going to be available this fall or winter of 24 for your 2025 graduates. So it's always fall before the senior year when the FAFSA opens and gets submitted. Ideally, the FAFSA would open October 1. That's what we've been used to, but there was a big delay last year. We suspect a delay this year, but we just haven't heard for sure. That being said, the goal is to submit FAFSA 30 days after it opens or sooner. Now, the FAFSA gets submitted to every school on your students list. So every school that your student is sending an admissions application to, that school is also going to get a FAFSA form. And as said, last year there were bugs. We had to wait for FAFSA to work those bugs out. This year we do expect the same. Not to be alarmed at all, because colleges will wait and delay as well. Okay, so on that FAFSA form, we do feel like it's the most critical form that can be submitted, because colleges will use it to determine what federal aid you're eligible for, what state aid you're eligible for, what college aid, how much of their own money, if they have it, are you eligible for? And then your student will find private scholarships to apply to, and some or many of those will want that FAFSA form as well. Okay, so the FAFSA has to be completed to be considered for aid, including merit aid, and the FAFSA must be completed to have access to those federal college loans. Now let's take a minute to talk about divorced and separated families. In a divorced or separated family situation, only one bio parent needs to complete the FAFSA. Okay. If that parent has remarried, then their spouse's information is also included on that FAFSA. Even if you've already discussed the other spouse is not helping with college, that information has to go on the FAFSA form. Okay. Then the question is, which one bio parent completes the FAFSA? So the guideline used to be, where does the student spend the most time? Now it is, which parent provided the most support over the previous 12 months? Okay, that's no more clear. So let's talk about that. What I want to say is, it is not automatically the parent who claims the student on the tax return. Okay, it is not automatically the parent that pays child support either. Let's dive into that. Child support is a payment for expenses that we would be expected to provide as a parent: food, shelter, basic necessities. Child support is calculated assuming that both parents are equally providing for the child. And then if one parent is not making an equal contribution for the child support is ordered. So in other words, child support is ordered to bring both parents up to an equal level. Then you could probably argue that the parent with whom the student lives, that parent probably spends the most or incurs extra costs: the field trips, the birthday parties, the fundraisers, those things that are over and above those basic necessities, thus providing more support. So it's a very gray area. You can talk to us about how that applies to you and what the correct answer would be for your family. The next thing we want to dive into is the CSS profile form. So a college may also require students to submit the CSS profile to be considered for additional aid awarded by that college. So this is the profile form is more in depth than the FAFSA form. It is going to ask questions about home equity, about retirement account balances, details about the business, etc. So the FAFSA goes to every school, and then the CSS profile goes to additional schools that require it. Now, we're often asked, why do we have to fill out the CSS profile? Well, when a college is considering awarding their own institutional money, they want and they're going to require more information than just the minimal information that is offered or reported on the FAFSA. They need to do their due diligence when they're awarding their own money, and they're going to use that CSS profile to do that. The CSS profile form is submitted through your student's collegeboard.org account, and that is collegeboard.org. Your student has an account that is their email and a password. If they've done AP tests, PSAT, or SAT, they already have this account. If they have not done AP, PSAT, or SAT tests, then they may not have an account and they just need to create one here. Okay. When they create one and they get in, the screen's going to look like this. For your 2025 grads, it's going to say fall 2025, spring 2026. So you'll know you're in the right place. And then there's two ways to know if a CSS profile is required. So this link will get you straight to this database. You could also Google CSS profile participating institutions, and then you see that red arrow there. This is sortable, and it will say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no for every school in the database. You will also see this column here, CSS profile non-custodial parent. And we'll talk more about that in a minute, but just remember that if you're in a non-custodial parent situation, this is for divorced or separated families, that this yes, no means that the college is going to want a CSS profile for that other parent in addition to the student and the bio parent. Okay. So if you are a client of ours, in your Scholars portal, there's a couple different ways where you can see if that CSS profile is required. So over on the left on that red arrow, you can navigate to the Colleges tab. And then in the list of colleges, you can click on any college that you want to inquire about. And when you do, the page is going to look like this, and you can pop over to the left there where it says colleges, or excuse me, costs and financial aid, and you'll find that. Or you can pop over here to the top right where it says research, and this window, this research launchpad will open, and then we go to financials, and then forms required. So here you see the FAFSA is free. The CSS profile is required for this school. There is a fee for that. It's $25 for the first school and $16 for every school after that. And then if you also see the non-custodial divorce separated parent statement, know that that's going to be a requirement also. It may say free, however, there's a $25 charge to that other parent as well. So on that CSS profile, it will open on October 1. The earliest deadline is going to be November 1, and thereafter through February, March timeframe. For divorced or separated parents, again, some colleges are going to require the profile form from both bio parents. Okay, so watch for that. If that's an issue, then talk to us about that. So first, it is the admissions application, right? Nobody's going to look at financial aid forms until there's an admissions application on file. So number one, admissions applications are submitted. Number two, CSS profile submitted. And then number three, that FAFSA is submitted. Okay. Do you want to mention about fees and fee waivers? If your family, if you're a US student and your family makes less than $100,000, those fees that I mentioned, they will not apply. When you get to the end of the application, there just won't be a fee there. Or if your student previously received an SAT fee waiver, then that waiver is going to be attached to their account. And when they get to the end, there will be no fees. And then if we have students who are orphaned or wards of the court and they're under age 24, there won't be any fees to submit that CSS profile either. Same goes for non-custodial parents. If that non-custodial parent's household and is under $100,000 for their adjusted gross income, then there's not going to be any fees at the end of that form. All right, let's talk about institutional financial aid forms. So some colleges are going to go even deeper and they are going to ask for more information than what's reported on the FAFSA or the CSS profile, or they're just going to ask it in a different way. But what you will find is that the more generous a college is with their institutional money, the more financial information and requirement of submitting financial aid forms is going to be required. Okay, so here's our visual. We're going to do admissions applications and then financial aid forms and then verification, and then the financial aid award will come. So let's talk about compliance and verification. There's federal verification and there's institutional verification. So on verification, federal student aid may select your student's FAFSA for verification. Being selected for verification does not mean that there's an error or that there's any problem. It's simply a matter of compliance. Financial aid is highly regulated, and the colleges are responsible for ensuring that the information is accurate, that it was processed correctly, and that the financial aid was awarded correctly. So at all your private schools, especially your most generous private schools, you're going to find that they're going to verify all of their financial aid forms. At your public schools, at our smaller schools, then it may be a percentage. On average, it's about 30% of financial aid forms are selected for verification. Again, unless you're at a more generous private school, they're going to do all of theirs. They're going to verify all of theirs. When verification is happening, they are sometimes verifying the tax data. They may verify the high school completion, the household size, so who all is in that household, or they may verify members in college, okay? So on the verification, the analogy that I like to make is it's very, very similar to that process you went through when you were applying for your mortgage on your home, right? So you self-reported your income and your assets on the mortgage application. And the underwriter said, great, thanks. Now give us supporting documents. We want to see tax returns. We want to see W-2s, et cetera, so that they can confirm that your numbers were true and accurate. The same thing goes with financial aid. You self-report your numbers on all the financial aid forms, and then you may be asked to back up those numbers with supporting documents. So don't be alarmed. It's just part of the process and things that need to get done. So How do you know if you've been selected? Well, it's critical for your student to check the applicant portal on each college's website that they have applied to for admissions for updates and outstanding requirements. So when your student applies, they're going to get a username and password to that college's portal. And the college is going to put updates for admissions and financial aid in that portal. So they or you as a parent need to establish a process or a schedule to check those portals for those updates and outstanding requirements. When a student is selected for verification, the college is going to post those verification requirements in that applicant portal on their website. They may or may not email, but they will always post it in the portal. And the sooner you verify your information, the sooner the college can process it and package that financial aid award letter. A tip I always share is parents, tell your students anything they get from Department of Ed, anything they get from a financial aid office at their college, just share that with you, tackle that together. You know, there could be requests for verification, for documentation. If that stops for any reason, then our financial aid awards are going to be delayed. So we want to stay on top of those requests and get those satisfied as soon as possible. All right, so let's talk about the information that gets reported on these financial aid forms. On the CSS profile, we're going to have parent 2023 personal tax information. So this is me speaking to your 2025 graduates. It's always a 2-year look back. So if your student's graduating in 2025, it's going to be 2 years back your 2023 income. So we need parent income, student federal tax income for 2023, none of your state stuff, just your federal. 2023 business federal tax information. And then on the CSS profile, they're going to have you estimate your 2024 numbers as well. Okay. For parents and students, you're going to report your checking and savings, your investments, your 529 accounts for all the students, any trust assets, business assets, farms. You will report the values of your tax deferred retirement accounts. Not that they're going to make you spend those on college, but this form is called the CSS profile, and the college wants a deeper profile, a more full profile of your family's finances and your ability to pay for college before they open their pocketbook and contribute their own money to the cause. On the FAFSA form, also 2-year look back. So our 2025 grads, we're going to use our 2023 tax information that is for the parent and the student. I will say when you're filing the CSS and the FAFSA, you do want your income and your asset numbers to match up. I know you're going to file it on different days, but we need that information to match up, and that makes it easier processing at the college level. Okay. As far as assets go on the FAFSA, for both parents and students, you are going to include your checking and savings, your investments. Parents, you're going to include the 529 account for the student on the FAFSA that you own, not any for other siblings, your trusts, your business, and your farm values. You're not going to include any tax deferred retirement accounts, no IRAs, no 401ks, no annuities, no cash value life insurance, no home equity, and no 529 accounts for siblings or 529s that are owned by someone other than the parent. And again, when we're filing the CSS and the FAFSA, we want those numbers to match up. Okay. So your general timeline for everyone on listening to this recording and on this call, September, go get your IDs, studentaid.gov. October, November, it's time to file the CSS. October, November, it's time to file the FAFSA. January through April, financial aid awards will start to come in from the colleges. Requests for verification docs will come in. You'll satisfy those. April is the time for appeals. We do some awards boot camps and coaching on appeals, so watch for those webinar notices at that time. And then May 1 is decision day. So the target is May 1. We have all of our enrollment deposits in. We've picked our one college and we're ready to go. June is loans. So go ahead and get through graduation and enjoy the festivities, and then June, July can be your loan time. Okay, so that's your general timeline. For our clients in your Scholars Portal, you're going to look for these 5 steps. These 5 steps outline what you need to do for us or with us so that we'll be ready to submit your financial aid forms for you. So step number 1 is the call that you're on right now. So mark that complete. If you do not have these steps or you do not have access to our Scholars Portal, it is not too late to get help from us in managing this financial aid forms process. Hang on until the end of this webinar and we'll show you how to do that. Okay. Step number 2, for our clients in your Scholars Portal, you will see step number 2, activate your File College Info FCI account. File College Info is a separate secure portal that we use to collect your financial data that we're going to use on financial aid forms and keep it safe over there. So parents, you received an email with a link to activate your File College Info account and create your password. The subject line read, "Welcome to Scholars Service Center," and the email address it came from is that FinAid alert at filecollegeinfo.com. Okay. If you don't have the email, on your message board, you will also see a link to the portal. You can put in your email address, use the forgot password feature, and gain access to that account there as well. Okay. So right now, parents, complete steps 1 through 5. If you are stuck or unsure, use that conversation tab, Conversations with Corey, and I'm there to help you out. When, for our clients, when you've completed steps 1 through 5, number 5 being submit your file for review, I will grab that, check it against your tax returns, make sure that everything is complete and accurate, and I will reach out to you for any missing information, questions, and to confirm that we're ready to roll. Okay. For our clients too, 2 critical things. This is your Scholars Portal. Your student has been in there researching colleges, exploring, building their college list. Okay. This is where they explore. This is the college list in File College Info. This is where we are going to be filing financial aid forms. So I need your help. It is critical that you and your student keep this list in the FCI portal accurate and complete. Okay, if a school is not listed in the FCI portal, I won't know. I won't be able to send them a financial aid form. The 2 systems do not communicate, and that is on purpose. The FCI portal has your sensitive data, your social security numbers, your birth dates, and so we're going to add that, keep that extra layer of security there to protect it. All right. And for our clients, your financial aid timeline and support looks like this. So August, September, October, you're completing your steps 1 through 5. We will go out there and we will create that parent FSA ID and the student FSA ID. When we create those, a secure code is going to go to the phone number attached to the ID. So it's a text from Federal Student Aid with a secure code in it. We need that code. So when you get it, forward that message, including your first and last name. We don't have everybody in our contacts. So give me your first and last name, text that to me at the number on the screen. Okay. Codes are time sensitive, so please be prompt. And if you get a code, don't worry that your FAFSA is being hacked. Just trust that it's us, forward it on, and that'll let us keep rolling. November, February-ish, We will submit your financial aid forms for you on time and accurately. The CSS, that means that we're going to do that as early as November 1. It's November 1, November 15, December 1, December 15, and all the way through the end of the year, probably through February as well. On that FAFSA, we'll submit that as early as November 1 if it's available through February 2025. If the FAFSA opens earlier, we'll work to submit earlier, but we're estimating it's going to be delayed. All right, for our clients as well, there's more. It's a marathon. So December to March, you and your student will be monitoring those college portals where they've applied for any updates, any requirements related to admissions or financial aid, and you're going to complete those in a timely manner. If you're stuck or unsure, holler, and we are here to help with that. So January to April, that is award letter season. It is our favorite time of year. Those start to come out. In your scholars portal, and we will train more on this, on that applications tab where your student is managing their admissions applications, there's also going to be a spot to enter the scholarships that they received. So they track that they've submitted their application, that they've been accepted, and then what scholarships they receive. We're also going to ask you to upload copies of the award letters for analysis. We want to check those against the school's historical averages, make sure that what you received is accurate and fair. If there's a reason to appeal, that's going to happen in that February-March timeframe. We host awards boot camps. Watch for those webinar invites as well. We're going to talk through awards. We're going to analyze awards. We have a great spreadsheet to plug things in so you can compare apples to apples. You would think that all these award letters look the same and contain all the same information. They do not. So boot camp and analysis is an important thing. We'll go over those awards. We'll calculate net costs. We'll discuss when it's appropriate to appeal and how best to appeal successfully. And we have, as I mentioned, additional worksheets and resources that will get loaded into your files in your portal. And then April, May is when we will really start going over paying for college. We have a loan webinar with our certified student loan professional. That is fantastic. You won't want to miss that. And we will go over all your options for paying the college bill. We'll discuss using federal loans, the federal repayment plans, and the forgiveness options that are available to you. And then in the summer, you'll secure those loans, and we'll have additional information and resources. We'll know what the interest rates are by that time, and that will come to you summer after your student graduates high school. So now is the time. If you have not created a funding plan or a plan to pay back those loans that you're going to use to pay for college in the short term, now is the time. It is critical that you meet with your college financial planner. If you don't know who that is, ask us, or if you don't have one, ask us, and we can do that work for you. So definitely want to be talking to someone who is well versed with the Higher Education Act and the taxes and net costs and financial aid, so you could put your funding plan together. Okay, so now's the time to do that. It might seem early, but this time next year, there's going to be college bills to pay. So let's get started. Okay. So if you do not have access to our portal, or you have access, but you do not see these 5 steps showing on your screen, this means that we are not on the job to submit your financial aid forms for you, but it is not too late. We can support you. Reach out and contact us today. We have forms filing, award analysis, and an appeals bundle. If you are comfortable doing your own forms and you just want to come to awards boot camp, that is an option. Or if you feel like you're comfortable with all of it, and then you just want to do an hourly, if you get stuck or you're unsure, that is an option as well. Okay, so we're here to help. Reach out to us today, and thank you very much.